Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to continue our work with solving equations. And the first equation that we did was a one-step equation. Then last night we did two-step equations, and today we're going to go on to multi-step equations. So the topic is multi-step equations. The first problem we're going to do is an example of all three different types. So we have one-step equations here, two-step equations here, three-step equations there. And I'm going to go ahead and solve the one-step equation first. So you probably want to pause and get them all written out, giving yourself enough space in your notebook so that you can fit all the information in there. Okay, so to solve this one-step equation, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my beans. Remember that these are my cups, and these are beans here, and these are beans. So I want to get rid of the beans that are with the cup side. So to do that, I'm going to subtract 6. I do the opposite operation right there. Subtract 6 from both sides. I get x is equal to 18 minus 6, of course, is 12. So x equals 12. Over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to solve this two-step equation. And again, this time now I have 2 cups. And then these are my beans and beans. If you remember back from our demonstration where we did cups and beans. I'm still going to start by getting rid of my beans. So I subtract 6 from both sides. Again, that's the opposite operation. So that gives me 12 there. And now I have 2x equals 12. So to do that one, I'm going to next separate, which the mathematical term for that would be divide. So I'm going to separate these cups or these x's into 2 parts. So I divide by what I want to get rid of. I want to get rid of that 2. So I divide it by 2. Over here, I'm also going to divide by 2. Anything I do the left-hand side of the equal sign, I have to do the right-hand side of the equal sign. So I'm left with x equals 6. So, not too big a deal. A little quick little review from what we've done. One-step equations, basically one step, you get the answer. Two-step equations, 1, 2 steps, you get the answer. Multi-step equations, it's going to be obviously more than 2 steps to get the answer. So here, these are my cups. In this case, I have less than 1 cup. So where before I had 1 cup and 2 cups, now I have 2/3 of a cup. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So these are my cups here. These are my beans. And these are my beans. So I'm going to do the first thing I did like last time, which is get rid of my beans first, get my cups by themselves. So I do the opposite operation, so that's subtract 6 from both sides. I'm left with 2/3 x is equal to 12. My next step is I need to get this x by itself. I'm going to start with my denominator because I don't like having a denominator other than 1. So I'm going to get rid of that denominator just like we did yesterday in our two-step equation when we were dividing by a number. So in this case, I'm going to multiply, because that's the opposite operation of division. Here I'm dividing by 3. To get rid of that 3, I'm going to multiply by 3. So I put the 3 as a numerator, I put it on top, and then over here I'm also going to be multiplying by 3. These simplify out, I get a giant 1 right there, and instead of having x as in yesterday, now I have 2x, which is equal to 36. So there I have 2x equals 36. Unfortunately, x is not by itself, so I'm not quite done yet. So my last step is I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I'm multiplying here. To get rid of multiplication, you divide. Those simplify out and become a 1. So I'm left with x equals, and 2 goes into 36, 18 times. Okay, so there are the 3 different examples, there are 3 examples of the different types of problems. We're going to go ahead and do another type of multi-step problem here, and it won't be like these, it's a little bit different, but it still is a multi-step problem. Is 3 times the quantity 2x minus 1 is equal to 9. So these are back to regular notes where you have a left-hand side and then your notes and the blue column over there. Of course, in your blue column, you can be explaining what the major difference between the multi-step So for this problem, it's 3 times 2x minus 1 is equal to 9. So when I do this problem, we have these parentheses here, and we don't like to have problems with parentheses in them. We'd like to get rid of the parentheses. If you want to get rid of parentheses, then you have to multiply. A number outside of a parenthesis is telling you to multiply. So we're going to use a generic rectangle for that. If you remember, the generic rectangle looked like this. I'm going to do a little side problem over here so that the work is not underneath my actual problem, because I like to work down my page. In fact, I'd like to point that out real quick. Notice that my equal signs lined up in a straight line, my equal signs lined up in a straight line, and my equal signs lined up in a straight line. The more you do that, the better habit you get into having your equal signs being a line. It's easier for you to see the left side and the right side. So I don't want to do this side problem in here, because that's going to mess up my my equal sign. I'm going to do the side problem on the side. And remember, the first number goes on the wall. The number inside the parentheses goes on the roof. And then where I have the subtraction sign, that separates my house into two bedrooms. So we call this one a 1-story, 2-bedroom home. And to find the area of this room, I multiplied. So 3 times 2 gave me 6x. 3 times 2x gives me 6x. And then 3 times negative 1 gives me negative 3. And it's negative because this sign and this sign are different. When the signs are different, the answer is negative. So then if I were to multiply 3 times 2x minus 1, I get rid of my parentheses and I'm left just with what's inside. So I have 6x minus 3 is equal to 9. So notice that the 3 did not get multiplied by the 9. I think of these parentheses as my stop sign. That's where this 3 stops. It goes to this one and this one, but not outside of that one. If I had a parenthesis out here, so the whole thing, absolutely. But I don't have that, therefore it stops at this parenthesis. And now I've set up a 2-step equation. I have 2x plus 6 equals 18, 6x minus 3 equals 9. So I go back and I'm going to get rid of that by adding 3 to both sides. And so what I'm left with is 6x equals 12. And then, of course, my last step would be to divide both sides by 6. And these simplify out into a 1, so I'm left with x equals 2. So this was a multi-step equation as well, because I had to do the side problem over here. I did my generic rectangle side problem, then I took the answer from the inside of that rectangle, put it right here, and then I continued on with the other steps of my problem. Okay, so those are the examples of multi-step problems. We're going to do some more practice with it tomorrow. So go ahead and do your blue columns and your summaries tonight. Please fold and solve. I guess it'll be, actually don't fold and solve. Just do these 3 problems on the left-hand page, and then do this one on the left-hand page as well. So I want you to redo these problems as best you can without looking at the notes to see how much you understood tonight. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow.